Welcome to Barlow Reads City Spies Golden Gate. I want to know if you or your parents or anyone you know have any motherisms, all these little quotes and sayings that they all contribute to mother and call them motherisms. I'm just curious which ones you may have heard or you may know. I personally need some. So if you have one, leave me a comment below because I need some good motherisms. I'm going to call them Sherry-isms. Okay, if you are reading the hardcover book with me, I am on page 153, chapter 15, Magpie. Kim Philby was the biggest villain in the history of British intelligence. While serving as a high-ranking MI6 official, he covertly led a group of double agents known as the Cambridge Spy Ring who passed secrets to the KGB for decades. His story was taught to incoming spies as a cautionary tale. Virtually all despised him because he betrayed his country and cost countless lives. Magpie despised him because he got caught. Like Philby, Magpie had spent years as a double agent, passing secrets to the enemies of the United Kingdom, primarily to the crime and terror syndicate known as Umbra. For nearly a decade, MI6 was aware that it had a mole, but had been unable to figure out who it was. Magpie eluded discovery by being careful and cunning, mixing bold actions with intricate planning. This had been a successful recipe up until the hijacking of the Sylvia Earle, where it failed miserably. Magpie's search to figure out what went wrong led all the way to the Arctic Circle and the tiny Norwegian village of Rain. This was where Emil Bly had gone into hiding and where Magpie went looking for answers. They met alongside an old wooden roorboo, a fisherman's cottage built half on land and half on stilts over the water. It was red with a grassy sod roof, and the two of them sat outside looking across the water as the sun set behind the craggy granite peaks of Rheinforhorden. Y'all know I don't have anything on some of these words that are not part of this country. So I don't even know if I said it right, but if you're reading along with me, you can tell me. What happened? Asked Magpie. You tell me, said Bly, who had shaved his beard and dyed his hair blonde to avoid recognition. There were supposed to be 2 girls on that ship who you said would bring us millions. They were there, Magpie assured him. You were just too inept to find them. Bly didn't like being spoken to in this way, but he knew he had failed and was in no position to argue. They should have been in their cabin like you promised. What about the SSAS button? Asked Magpie. Who pushed it? Bly considered mentioning that he thought Brooklyn might be the culprit, but that was just a fleeting hunch, and everything about the hijacking was already embarrassing. The idea that a 12-year-old girl had derailed his plan would have been unforgivable and would have undoubtedly marked the end of his career with Umbra. He offered his companion a more reasonable theory instead. It must have been one of the crew, he said. There was probably a second button hidden somewhere. Everything about this looks bad, said Magpie. Which makes me look bad. You, said Bly, trying to control his frustration. I'm the one whose picture is all over the news. Exactly, said Magpie. And I'm the one who picked you for this job. So when La Fantôme looks to point fingers, they're aimed directly at me. La Fantôme was the leader of Umbra, and the mention of his name added to the seriousness of the conversation. Is he angry? Asked Bly. He doesn't get angry, answered Magpie. He gets results. And if we cannot give them to him, he will move along to someone else and we will instantly become expendable. Bly nodded. Although, added Magpie, he was irritated about the explosives. How could you have bungled that so? I didn't bungle anything about the explosives, said Bly defensively. I set that limpet mine myself. Then how do you explain the fact that there were 2 explosions instead of 1? And if the explosives were damaged with the limpet mine, why was there no damage to the ship? The mine must have been tampered with. Magpie laughed at the absurdity of this. By whom? Someone from MI6. You're forgetting something, Magpie said. I am MI6. I would know. They were quiet for a moment and looked across the water toward the sky, now a brilliant swirl of reds, purples, and oranges. Maybe you don't know everything because I set that bomb and it was perfect. Maybe MI6 put someone on board that you don't know about.